In this video, we're going to create this artwork in Photoshop. But before we proceed, this tutorial requires minimum Photoshop CC 2014 that has render flame feature, which also requires minimum VRAM 512 MB for the filter to operate. Okay, let's get started. Let's create a new file. Going to use 1080 by 1080 and now hit create. Now let's open the first image that we are going to use in this tutorial. This. You can also use your own image if you want, but make sure you are wearing a dark color clothes like this ones, because this kind of effect works better with dark images. Alright, now I'm going to remove the background. I'm going to use the latest Photoshop feature that is removing object automatically, but if you don't have, you can also choose the other technique as long as you remove the background or hide the background. So I'm going to change into layer 0, and then on the properties there will be remove background, and the background will be removed automatically like this. It's pretty nice, saving a lot of time. And now just drag it into the main document. I'm going to hit Ctrl T to scale this down because it's really big right now. Okay, I'm going to place it maybe like this one, and then I'm going to create dark background. So I'm going to go for solid color and choose dark background, or simply choose the texture or the color from the cloth. That's okay, it just as a reference. We can change this later. Before that, I think there's some mistake here. I'm going to select this layer and then grab pen tool to fix this. Okay, and then I'm pressing Ctrl Enter to turn this into selection, and I'm going to erase this with black color. So I'm going to choose a black color, grab brush tool, opacity 100, and make sure I select the layer mask, and yep, apply on it, and it's gone. Okay, looking good. Now we're going to create the fire effects, but before that I'm going to create the guides. I'm going to grab ellipse tool and hold shift on your keyboard to create perfect circular shape like this. Let's rename this as guide 1. Now let's create the fire effects. Oh yeah, before that let's just lock this. Now let's create fire effects. Let's create a new layer. I'm going to rename it as fire number 1, and now we're going to use path to create the path for the fire to grow, like this one. And please keep in mind that the first point that you apply will be the head of the fire, and the last point will be the tail, like here. And this will be the head, and this is going to be the tail of the fire. Let's see in practice. So I'm going to create the head of the fire for here. This, for example, you can start from the other points or the other side. So this is going to be the first path or the point, and this is going to be the last that is going to be the tail of it. Okay, let's see. Now let's go to filter, render flame. Okay, I already setting to the settings before. Choose flame type 1 flame long path. The width is 20 and the turbulence 36. Opacity, as you can see here, just follow the setting if you want. And this is the interesting part, the arrangement, where you can have a lot of options based on these settings. Yeah, maybe I'll go with this one, and I'll hit OK, and that's it. That's the fire effects. The first fire effects. Let's hide the guide, and you can see that it's very nice. Okay, now let's create the other fire effects over here. What you need to do is to create another layer. Let's rename it fire number 2, and the process is quite similar. but make sure you hide this path first. What you need to do is to go to path and then hit enter, and there you go. The previous path is gone. Now you create another path, grab pen tool, and I'm going to create the fire for here. Remember, the first point is going to be the head of the fire, so I'm going to create here, and the tail will be there. Now let's just go fire. You can choose this as well. This is the flame settings, flame effects with the previous settings like over here. So let's give it a try. That's it, looking great. Or if you want to do a little bit more custom effects, you go to filter, render, flame, and you can just change the arrangement and you get completely different effects. Hit OK. Alright, looking great. Now let's create the other fire effects for this. I'm going to create new layer again. Let's name it fire number 3 and create the first point for here, and the last is there. And go to filter, render, flame. I think I'm quite happy with these effects, so just hit OK. Now let's create the inner fire effects like I did here. Actually, the process is quite similar. You create the path and render the flame, and you repeat the process again, but the difference is the shape of the fire. We are going to use different guides, so let's just duplicate this, hit Ctrl T and press Shift and Alt on your keyboard to turn this into oval, and then rotate that, and this is going to be the guides for your oval or inner fire. And I'm going to scale this down as well. I press Shift and Alt as well and drag this, so you create an oval shape like that. Now the process is quite similar as before, so just create a new layer. I'm going to make oval 1, and then I'm going to grab pen tool, and this is going to be the head, this is going to be the middle of part of the fire, and this is going to be the tail. And just hit flame, filter flame. Let's see. Okay, I don't like this kind of effects, it's way too thick, so I'm going to customize that. Filter, render, flame. And yeah, as you can see there, it's really ugly. You simply change the arrangement, you'll find different output. Okay, I'm going to use this setting and hit OK. It is quite thick, but yeah, we can work this out later. I like the tail a little bit more longer, so I'm going to create another layer, oval, and rename it as oval 1B. This is going to be the tail, and I don't need this path, so I'm going to hit enter or just delete that and create another path with pen tool and create from this to this, or maybe make it a little bit longer like that, and go to filter. Let's just hit flame there. Not what I wanted. This is a bit too thick. Maybe I need to edit the path, so I'm going to choose direct selection tool and bring the path over here so it connect with the middle of this fire. Let's go to filter and flame again. A bit better, but I think I'd like to change the effects, so let's go to filter, render, flame, and then yeah, maybe change the value a bit, maybe give a little bit smaller value for the width, and let's see what happens. Maybe let's change the arrangement. Yeah, maybe like this. Hit OK, and there you have it. It looks better, it's more connected, way better than before. Okay, next I want to create over here as well, so just change the guide. Let's duplicate that and hit Control T. I'm sorry, hit Control T, and yep, just move the guide over here. Or maybe you can also change the roundness of this oval. What you need to do is to grab this path selection tool, so you have a different transformation node, and then press Alt and drag this down a bit. Okay, great. Now let's create another oval effects. Oval number 2. So this is my settings, and hit OK. Alright. Now I think I'm quite happy with the initial result. I'm going to hide the guide now. So we will alter the shape of the fire next. So what we're going to do is, let's select the first fire, this one, the fire 1, and I'm going to go to filter, liquify, and now you can bend the shape of this fire. For a tip, if you don't want to have this very large blank space like this one, let's hit cancel, and what we need to do is to go for rectangular marquee tool and select only this area of the fire, maybe like here, and then go to filter, liquify, and you have, yeah, a more comfortable space. It's not unlike before. Now you can just zoom in, and now you can, I'm going to use this twirl clockwise tool to bend the shape of this fire tail. So let's just apply that. You can vary the setting here and just apply over here, click here and there, and as you can see now the fire a bit bent. Yeah. And yeah, I'm quite happy with the effects. Let's hit OK. Okay, and apply it on the other fire effects as well. Don't forget to select only this part and go to filter, liquify. You can also try using this forward warp tool and create another band like this, but I'm not sure I like it, so I'm going to undo that with reconstruct tool. I choose here. I just go for this, and I feel the effects a bit more natural. Simply click and hold it actually, and hit OK. Next we're going to add a little bit of smoke effects. I'm going to use smudge tool here. Let's grab the first layer, that's the fire one, okay. And I think I need to zoom a bit. Go back to smudge tool and make sure the strength is quite high. And let's see, let's just drag like this one. I think it's way too strong. Okay, I think I make it too much. Yes, this is going to be the just apply the smudge to like this one, and you create some kind of smoke around the fire. just twirl the fire surface, and yeah, you can create some kind of like extra what's called extra shape along the fire. For me it looks quite nice. Let's just apply more for here, or you can also scale down the smudge tool and you can add more variation of the fire. And then you can apply to all other fire effects over here. I'm quite happy with the effects now, but next we're going to create the head of the fire, just like I did here. Okay, now let's create a new fire, new layer. Name it let's call it orb 1, and I'm going to zoom it. I'm going to create over here for the first effects. Let's grab brush tool and create an oval shape fire like this one. Not really oval, but not a perfect circle. Let's change the blending mode first as screen, and the color, I think just go for a little bit pale yellow or nearly white. Hit OK. Opacity 86 is fine, and now let's just apply it. Okay, it looks ugly the first time. What we need to do next is to create more glows. Let's create a new layer, glow 1, and okay, let's try a circular brush, soft brush, hardness 0, and we're going to make glow from this. And the blending mode will be screen, and grab the color of this fire. Okay, now let's apply it. I think I need a little bit bigger. The opacity, I forgot, needs to be lower. Let's apply it. Okay, great. And let's scale down 3 times. I'm pressing open bracket there, and choose a brighter color than this. So go up on this, go up as well. Let's apply it, and you can strengthen the opacity a bit and scale down, and I apply it twice. Okay, looking great. Now what we need to do for this core, I would like to create the tail just like I did here, and look at this as well. So let's go back to select the core. I'm name it as orb 1. Let's grab this smudge tool and now drag down like this. Maybe you need to scale down the brush, and simply create a flowing shape like this, so it blends nicely with the fire body there. And zoom out so you can see how it looks. I think it's quite nice. Maybe you can also smudge this glowing effect as well. Let's give it a try. Yeah, I think it's quite nice as well. So that's basically the to create the glowing for the head. So you can apply that on the other parts. Okay, I'm quite happy with the effects now. Now I'd like to adjust the position of the fire effects right here. I'm going to put this fire behind the guy. So what I need to do is to select the layer. So I'm going to right click oval number 3, that is for this effects, and the oval, right click orb oval number 3. So that's the nice things of renaming the layers, so you don't need to scroll through these layers. And now I just need to bring this down behind the or below the guy layer, and now the fire is behind the guy, which is nice. The same for this, and simply select this oval number 2 and oval orb oval. Okay, that's it, and bring this under the guy layer. Okay, alright, next let's put this fire effects into one folder, one group folder. So let's select the top and go to the bottom, press shift and hit Ctrl G to create group 1, and let's rename it as fire group. And the great thing about doing grouping is that you can apply one effects to all. So if you, for example, I'm going to use hue saturation and clipping it, yeah, like that, and then simply change the hue and it applies to the all fire layer inside the group, which is quite handy and effective. Okay, because this is in a different layer position, so I need to group this as well. I press shift to select this and hit Ctrl G in the fire group number 2, and you can just drag this to here or duplicate that, hit Alt and drag this down over here, and make sure it clip there so it doesn't apply to the other layer. And I forgot one thing, to change the blending mode of this fire. So just go to this group and change to screen. You can see a difference. This and this. Now it blends nicely. Same for this. Change to screen. Alright. Next we're going to adjust the lighting for this guy, because now he has fire around him, so it should be, the light of the fire should be reflected on his clothes or the face as well. There are many ways to add or to adjust the tone or to create lighting for this guy. I'm going to use hue saturation and make sure it clip to this guy layer, and then hit colorize, and for the hue slider let's adjust it until it match with this fire effects, fire color. I think this one looks nice. Maybe saturation a bit, and now let's change the blending mode to screen, and now hit on this layer mask and hit Ctrl I to invert that to black for a while, so we hide the effects, and we are going to enable it manually by using brush tool. Make sure the hardness 0 and make it oval, circular, make it circle. And now let's apply over here to see the effects. So, and maybe one more time, and maybe one more thing, let's check the opacity, and now let's apply it. Wait a minute, I forgot this one. This has to be white. Now let's go apply it. I need a little bit size, a little bit more size. Okay, looks nice. Maybe here as well, because the fire, there's a fire on his back. Okay, looks so cool. Okay, for this case I need to be a little bit more detailed. Just create brush over here and a little bit smaller size. Maybe just paint over here like this, and then you delete that by using black brush, black colored brush. And yeah, maybe modify the opacity a bit. So yeah, this is a bit slower process, but I think the result will be a little bit more convincing. So apply white brush to restore this color like this, and then apply black. You can simply flip this by pressing this icon to erase that. So this is basically a little bit of painting. Let's see the difference. Let's hide and unhide it. As you can see there, it's now looking more convincing. Maybe now I think this is a bit way too bright. I need to reduce the exposure of that. So I'm going to use exposure and make sure it clip and turn down the exposure a bit. Maybe gamma correction a bit as well. Okay, and then hit Ctrl I to invert that, and I'm going to darken only on this part. So I'm going to use brush tool, make the size around this value, and then use white color to restore that, to make dark only on this area. So only exposure effects on this area. Maybe here as well in the middle. Let's see the difference. I don't know, I think it looks better. Maybe just adjust it a bit more. I'm going to delete, overdo it over here. I'd like to adjust some things a bit like this one. It's really out of place. I think I just realized that. This will be here, and this lacking some glow. I think I missed that settings. I'm going to disable the hue saturation for a while. I'm going to grab this one and create glow for this. Settings with screen and pick this color. I think the opacity needs to be a bit higher. That's better. Okay, that looks better. Now let's turn on the hue saturation. That's it. Okay, now let's add the background. I'm going to use this background. You can find the link in the description to this image. And I'm going to scale this up a bit and put the landscape background like this one. As you can see, it's a bit bright background there. I'm going to darken that a bit using curves and drag this down. Okay, looks good. Okay, now the guy seems to me a little bit too bright. I'm going to select the layer first, and then I'd like to adjust the lighting as well and make sure it clip, and then bring down the curves. Now it looks better, match with the background and the whole ambience of it. And I'd like to adjust these lighting effects there. I'm going to modify the hue and bring up the saturation. As you can see there, yeah, this is what I want. And maybe adjust the slider of the lighting as well. Okay, I think that is enough. And then you can edit the color of the background here. So I'm going to choose this layer and give a little bit bluish tone. I'm going to use color balance and simply drag the cyan and the blue slider like so. Maybe the curves, I'm going to modify that a bit. I'm going to drag this up to make the blackness not really black. Just match with this black level of the guy's color. Might be on that value. Okay, next I'd like to add mist effects over here, just like I did on this artwork. So what you need to do is to download free brush, but you can find the link in the description below, so please check that out. Download the brush and open up in Photoshop. And now let's create mist layer and load the brush. I already load that here, free smoke Photoshop brush, and I'm going to use this one. It's quite big for the document I create here, so I'm going to scale this down. I think around 2000. Yeah, and then press Alt to turn into eyedropper tool for a while and choose this mist on the background. Okay, and now let's rotate that a bit. I'm creating this mist above the guy. Actually, I would like to put it behind the guy, so let's apply that for a while and let's see what happens. Okay, as you can see, I already add the mist effect, and I would like to create one more on the front of the guy, so I'm going to create mist number 2, and maybe I'd like to use a bit or lighter color. Simply press Alt and I'll choose this one, and maybe scale this down a bit. I press open bracket on the keyboard, and that's it, and apply this here. So yeah, it looks better. Now I'd like to adjust the color just like I did on this guy surface, so I'm going to go for the hue saturation and make sure it clip and hit colorize. And now let's find the matching color of based on the fire effects there. Maybe turn up the lightness, the saturation, and that's it. So yeah, maybe just like that. So this value, so around this value, and maybe change into screen. Let's see. I'm not sure about it, but let's just do it and hit Ctrl I on this layer mask. And now let's grab this brush again, but now let's scale this down, and the color will be white, and then let's apply it. Okay, I'm going to undo that for a while. The opacity will be much lower, and I'll apply it gradually so you can see the effects, nicer effects than before. Okay, maybe you need to erase that. You can just flip this so it doesn't look too flat, and the same for the background, the mist. And simply drag this down, or duplicate this, I mean hit Alt on your keyboard and then drag this down and make sure it clip. And you can just delete this layer mask and create another layer mask, new layer mask, and then hit Ctrl I to invert that, reapply the brush here. Okay, this looks ugly. You just need to erase that by using black brush, and that's it. Maybe you want to add more over here. And then erase some part of it. Okay, I think it's great. We're going to add another image. This image, let's open this image. You can find the link in the description as well for this image. And now let's select only this part. Grab the lasso tool and simply select some portion of the ember here, or the sparks here, and simply copy and bring it to our main document, which is here. Maybe you need to select one of the fire effects here, for example this one, the fire number 1, and paste there so it stays above that layer. Okay, because the mode is already screened on this group, so you don't need to change the blending mode. But the problem, I think it is, okay, I'm sorry, actually you need to change to screen because it hides the layer under it. So simply change to screen. Now you can see what's the layer behind it, and then scale this down. Very small. Okay, that's it. Okay, now it looks so unnatural. What you need to do is to duplicate that, but before that we need to fix this. There's a flat edge there. We need to remove that by using this burn tool. We need a stronger, maybe shadow, and then yeah, you remove that. Now let's scatter this across the other elements of fire there by using clone stamp tool. So you don't need to copy this fire and bring this back there. So you simply just play around with this layer, and with clone stamp tool, sampling will be the current layer, so you only take the effects only from this scatters. So just select the sample from here, press Alt, and then apply over here. Okay, so it's automatically applied here. Oh yeah, the opacity is low, so you'll get this kind of look. And then take sample again from here and apply on this. Apply here, take the sample from here and apply here as well. So you can repeat the process on other sides. Also add a little bit of hue saturation more to enhance the lighting a bit more. Next, I'd like to add glow behind the guy layer to add more dramatic effects for this artwork. So let's create a new layer right below the guy layer. I'm going to rename it as glow. And then let's grab the brush tool and use the smoke brush that we used before. I'm going to use the size 1000 and pick this color, this fire color, and now let's apply it for here. Oh yeah, I forgot to change the blending. Wait a minute, I think I would like to duplicate this and then change into screen. Okay, so this normal blending mode enhance the color, and this screen gives more brightness of the smoke. I think I'd like to select this too and bring this down a bit, sorry, and put it more for here. And for the glow with screen blending mode, let's enhance it a bit more by using simple round brush like this. I think the size will be much smaller, and pick a brighter color than the previous color. And now let's apply it. Okay, wait a minute, the opacity may be lower than 100. Let's give it a try and let's see the effects. It's really cool and really dramatic. Okay, for me it's really cool. Now for the last part, I'm going to create the final tone for this artwork. So first I'd like to grab curves to adjust the brightness, and maybe I'd like to drag this up a bit. And then for the tones, I will use color balance and drag the cyan and the blue slider. Okay, I think I'd like to enhance the darkness of the sky. I'm going to go back to this and select this background and add new layer. I'm going to darken sky and change to multiply, and use brush tool and select this simple brush, rounded, 0 hardness, and grab this color, maybe this one, and then apply it over here. Okay, wait a minute, it's way too strong. I think the opacity needs to be turned down and scale this up a bit. Okay, I think now that looks better. I'm going to merge this. I press Ctrl Alt Shift and E on the keyboard, and I'm going to convert that into smart object, and I'm going to select filter, camera raw filter. I'm going to explore for the possibility of colors there. There'll be hours of editing for the final tone sometimes, so it may not fit for this tutorial, but I'll give you maybe some ideas how to get a look that you want. For example, the textures it gives you the sharpness, extra sharpness that you might need. I think I'd like to enhance the red tones of this, so I'm going to go for the color grading. That will mean, if I mean this red, that will be the highlights. So I'm going to go for the highlights, and as you can see there, I think this is quite cool to me. This will increase the intensity, and maybe, I don't know, it's lacking some oranges there, or the pink, I'm not sure, or lacking the luminance actually. Let's give it a try. Oh yeah, I think the luminance missing, and just a little bit more intensity of the color. Maybe saturation will fix it, and the blue as well. I think I'd like to improve that a bit, increase the saturation, maybe will fix. Or I don't like that kind of blue, maybe just give it a little bit brighter. Now find it. Can't find, where is it? I press OK there, and yeah, slightly, actually not really sure about it. Maybe I would like to create a custom overlay layer. Rename it as overlay, and then just simply boost the color by using overlay layer. Opacity around 20, and choose this color. Just give it a try. Let's see what happens. Wow. I think it's too strong. I think I'd like to change to soft light. And this sky, I'm going to go for the same color, maybe a bit brighter. And let's apply it. Okay, nothing really happens, but I think you can see it. See the difference? Yeah, I think that's cool. Maybe I'd like to add more glows over here based on this layer. So no, I'm going to create a new layer. Overlay or screen. Let's just keep overlay first. Brush tool, and choose this bright color and place it here, just to enhance the light of it. Oh yeah, that's really cool. It's really popping up, the illustration. And that's it for the tutorial. If you have any question, just drop comments down there and I'll be happy to help you out. And if you create a cool artwork based from this tutorial, I'll be happy to see it. Please share. Well, until then, see you in the next tutorial.